let's just talk generally. Let's talk about a car accident.
Sure.
Okay? Let's say a guy had a car accident, he has an injury, but it really doesn't manifest the physical problems till years later.
Right.
That can happen.
Right.
It's probably not common, but it can happen.
Right.
Okay? So the first thing is there liability? Can you prove liability? Can you prove damages? That's the second thing, right? Because you need both to win at trial. But then ultimately, you need a collectible defendant, right? You could have a person who's liable, you could have a person who caused you damages,
Right.
but you're not going to take on a case or go to the courts to get a piece of paper to frame it on the wall.
Right. Right.
Okay, that's not what the civil courts exist for.
Right. Right.
The civil courts are mostly about exchanges of money for damages.
Right.
And there's a lot of hurdles you need to surpass to get there.
Right.
And the stars have to align to make for a viable case.
Right.
That's why you got to have the trial experience and the knowledge of civil litigation. You got to know how to analyze, just like what I do in my mediation practice.
Sure.
It really goes hand in hand because what I do is extremely high stakes. They're very expensive cases to litigate, by the way. The experts you have to hire, they go on for many years when they litigate, you know, and you really got to know your stuff. You got to really, and that's, again, circling back to Judge Murphy, case analysis was his whole thing.
Right.
You got to be able to pick the winners and pick the losers. You got to call the balls and the strikes. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them.
So there are windows, like if something happened long term, is it from the time you can remember it, or is it from the, you know what I mean? Those like nuances where like you remember.
I'm not going to get into these details because
Okay.
it touches on some of my pending cases.
Okay, we're not going to do that then.
But I will.
I mean, I've heard of hypnosis. I mean, I've heard of people like in therapy sessions learning about it. You know what I mean? But there
I
is
can't say I have a hypnosis case.
Okay, but there's but like the memory coming up in a hypnosis session is what I'm saying. You know?
I'll tell you what I
The
see
recapture
along those
period?
lines. I'll tell you what you see along those lines.
Right.
The person absolutely knows what happened to him. There's no mistaking when you're a male victim of a rape. Okay?
I agree with that.
There's no mistaking it. We're not talking about a groping. I'm talking about penetrative rape.
Sure.
Okay? You know it happened, but now you go through the victimization cycle, right? And part of that, particularly for men, is they take that painful knowledge that's taking up rent in their head and you compact it and you crunch it down like a tinfoil ball and you push that back into your conscience as far as you can. And men do their best, their darndest to forget about it and to get it out of their thoughts.
Right.
So now, when eventually something may happen or whatever, there's usually a trigger, something can occur that brings it to the forefront. And now it all starts coming back, okay? And now you're reliving it and you're seeing that video play in your mind, you know, where maybe many years or months or whatever it is went by where you did your darndest to suppress the thoughts.
Right.
Okay? That is typical for victims of sexual assault.
Right.